What's going on, guys? Welcome to Lacrosse 101. Going to be going over some of the basics of the game, geared towards our younger guys within Eclipse, whether it's, kids who are supposed to be out on the full field for the first time this spring, or guys who, have played for a year or two. And, we're just going to go through some of the rules of the game, some of the locations of the field, things like that, calling it Lacrosse 101. So we'll jump right in here. Here we go. Got a presentation put together for you guys. All right, so Lacrosse 101, here we go. Nice and quick, nice and easy, some of the basics of the game. All right, so talking about the positions of the field, okay? Every team has out on the field, both teams will have 3 attackmen, 3 midfielders, 3 defensemen, and a goalie, right? And so the attack, they stay on the offensive end of the field. The midfielders, those are the guys that move up and down the field, play offense and defense. The defensemen, right, defense, they play back in front of their own goalie, protecting the defensive end of the field, not going across the midline too often. And then, obviously in there we got the goalie. He stands inside the crease, protects that net. You'll see on the right side there, specialty positions. So this is as you guys get older, you'll start seeing some of these positions, in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade, you'll start to see in the later years. But at those younger ages, you don't see them as much. But a face-off guy or a fogo, that's a guy. A fogo would be a face-off, get-off. That's what those letters stand for. That's a guy that just faces off and gets off the field. At the younger ages, we don't necessarily recommend like a 3rd or 4th grader doing that. But as you get a little older, you'll see that long stick midfield. That's something that kind of comes into play in, let's say, 5th or 6th grade, maybe will be the start of that. That's where you have one of their midfielders is actually allowed to come off the field, and another guy with a long pole is able to go on, and he can go up and down the field. D-middies, that's, maybe high school and college, defensive midfield, at the youth level where there should be no defensive midfielders. And then, a couple of quick rules, okay? And we'll get to the next slide and talk about these things, right? So offsides, right? So offsides means having too many guys on one end of the field. All right, we'll show you that on the next slide. Talking about the crease, right, is that circle that's around the goal. Only the goalie is allowed in there to block shots. The defensive team can go through there, can go in there, in certain specific situations. We'll talk about those. And then also finally is subbing, right? In lacrosse, the way the subbing goes when you're playing in a summer tournament, in a game, a real game, you can sub actually on the fly, or at a dead ball when the refs allow subbing. So we'll talk about some of those as we go. Okay, so now looking at the positions of the fields, right? The G stands for goalie. He's on our defensive end if we're protecting this goal, right? D1, D2, D3. Those are 3 defensemen for us, right? They're going to primarily spend their time in the defensive zone, this area of the field. Very rarely will they go across this. This is the midline right here, the 50-yard line. All right, the M's, M1, 2, 3. Those are the midfielders. All right, those guys will go up and down the field. They can go on both ends of the field, and then A1, A2, A3, that's our attack. All right, those guys are on the offensive end. That's the goal we're trying to shoot at inside that crease. They're allowed on that end of the field. So those are the 3 positions, or I should say 4 with the goalie, right? So you have goalie plus defense, midfield, attack as we move down the field. So talking about those rules, right? So offsides will happen when one team has 7 players on the offensive end of the field, right? So the refs are taught that they have to count forwards, meaning if the ball is on this end of the field, they've got to count on this end of the field, okay? And it's a rule that's done because they don't want the ref standing over here, right, as the ball is about to get shot, looking back on the other end of the field, right, back where the goalie and defense is to count. Did they have too many defensemen on the offensive end? They have too many guys on the offensive end. Right, they want to have that so the refs can still look at the ball, look at the play, and count forward. So that's when you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players across the 50. Okay, on the offensive end, that would be offsides. All right, it could happen the opposite way, right? If an attackman goes back onto defense, right, then they'd have the goalie, and then they'd count 7 guys, right? The 3 defensemen, the 3 middies, and that attackman that went across the 50-yard line went offsides. Okay. Now, the crease, that's the other rule we want to talk about, the crease, right? This circle on the defensive end, only the defensive team can go in that crease on their end. So no attackmen, no middies from the team that's shooting against us can go inside our crease at any time. If they do, the play stops automatically. All right. For us, our goalie is the only guy allowed to be in the crease blocking shots. So a defenseman can't go in front of the net and try and block a shot, acting like a goalie. That's against the rules. The refs will blow the whistle, stop the play, tell the player to get out of the net. He can't be in there. Okay. Now, if a defenseman or a midfielder, right, somebody on the defensive team runs through the crease and they don't have the ball in their stick, that's okay. You're allowed to do that. Okay. If an offensive player, an attackman or midi on the offensive team runs through the crease, with or without the ball, the ref blows the whistle immediately, stops the play. Okay. So that's the crease right there. Again, the goalie is the only guy that can be in there making saves. Okay. And we mentioned already, subbing can take place during play or at a whistle, right? If the whistle blows or a goal is scored and the refs, at that point, the refs are bringing the ball back to the 50-yard line, right? You can sub onto the field then, or in the middle of the game, kind of like hockey, right? You can have like a line shift in hockey. The guys come off the ice and the other guys go on. Well, that would be the same thing in lacrosse, right? A midi could come off the field here and a new midi could go on the field, and he could go anywhere he wants coming onto the field. Okay. On the next slide, we'll show you, right, the areas of the field. This yellow box right here, that's our sub box. That's the area of the field where nobody is supposed to stand in there during the game, right? Not the coaches, not the players, not the subs, the water boys, nothing, right? That area is supposed to be empty so that players can run on and off the field, right? And the areas on the edges of the sub box, that's where the team would stand. Okay, now let's look at on the field. So first thing we'll talk about is this shaded blue area, right? That's what we would call with kind of the offensive zone, right? The defensive zone, right? But this is the restraining box. So you see this box of blue, that's the restraining box, right? The offensive and defensive zones on the ends of the field, okay? This orangish line going across the field right here, that's the restraining line. So when the faceoff happens, we'll talk about where the middies go, but on the faceoff, the attackman and the defenseman and then the goalie must stay below this line until the ref says there's possession, meaning somebody picks the ball up from the ground ball off the faceoff. So that's why they call it the restraining line, right? You can't go above that line until possession is called. That's the attack, the defense, and the goalie, all right? This green line right here, that's the face-off wing, right? There's one on each side of the field. Okay, that's where the two of the middies will line up on the face-off, right? A midi for the for the white team and a midi for the black team. They'll be on that side, and then a midi for the white team and a midi for the black team on this side. Okay, and those guys wait behind the line until the ref blows the whistle to start the face-off. This X, okay, there's two X's you'll see, right? One right here and one right there. That X in the middle of the field, that's the face-off X. Okay, each team will send one midfielder out to the X, all right, to go for a face-off. The other X on the field, that's the X behind the goal. So a lot of times you'll hear, right, let's dodge from X or pass the ball to X, okay? They're not talking, coaches aren't talking about dodging from right here or passing to right there. They're talking about the space right behind the goal, right directly behind the goal, okay, for the attackman to start his dodge or the midi to start his dodge back there. This red circle, that's the crease, right? It's just shown in another example of the crease. Okay, and now this line right here, this is an imaginary line. That's why it's dotted, right? It doesn't actually exist on the field. But lacrosse players and lacrosse coaches, lacrosse fans, the referees, everybody knows what goal line extended, what this line is, right? So we call it GLE, right? G stands for goal, L stands for line, and E stands for extended. And what this blue line, this dotted line is, if you take the goal pipes, right, and you connect them with the line, right, in between them, that's the goal line. And then you take that line and you extend it out to the sideline, right? Just like that. That's GLE, goal line extended. All right. And it's important to know this because when we talk about defense and offensive skills and what you want to do, a lot of times, right, we'll tell the offense, like, you got to get above goal line extended in order to shoot, right? Or defense, don't let him get above goal line extended, okay, when he's behind the net, right? So GLE is a marker, a landmark on the field. It's invisible. It's not actually there, but everybody knows where it is because it connects the pipes and goes to the sidelines. And you'll hear your coaches talk about that a lot. All right. Those are the areas of the full field. Now let's zoom in. All right. So this picture, we now took the field and we went sideways, right? And now we went up and down vertically. So this blue shaded area right here, that's where we are right now. You see? So there's a crease, there's the goal right there. So we already talked about X. That's the spot behind the goal, but it's directly behind the goal, right? Behind the goal. Now, anywhere in this yellowish box, that would be behind. Okay, so and we talk about behind, that means behind the goal, right? Back behind the goal. Now, two areas of the field, right? There's a lot of dodging from behind, but two areas of the field that you're here when we talk about dodging, right, is the alley and the wing. All right. And the kind of the difference here is the alley is up and down the field like this, right? And you start up top and you dodge down the alley, would be down towards the goal. Okay. And the wing, a lot of times the dodges start wide and they go towards the middle of the field, right? So the wing would be a little bit lower. Let's say maybe if it's 5 yards above goal line to 10 yards to 15 yards above goal line, that's kind of the wing over here, where the alley goes from up top, okay, down, kind of in this area of the field right here, right? And so again, your coaches will be telling you, right, force the guy down the alley if you're playing defense, or they might say dodge, we want a righty alley dodge. Let's dodge down the alley, or we want to take it to the wing, right? Take it to the wing means take it over here. Okay, so those are 3 important areas of the offensive and defensive zone, right? We've got X and top center up here, okay? Now, when we label this area of the field, this is what it says here, right? The sides of the field are called from the goalie's view. All right. So when we talk about it, it's always where the goalie is standing. And if he was looking all the way down the field at the other goalie, right? That's how you determine where you are on the field, is based on that view, right? So it's not me standing here looking at X, looking behind the net and saying, oh, that's left and that's right. Okay. It's always from the goalie's perspective. And that's where it starts to be a little confusing sometimes. But the more you play, the more you go through drills, the more you go through practices, you'll start to get comfortable knowing that this is always back right, even if you're looking at it and it's to your left. Okay, so again, from the goalie's perspective, this is back right, this is back left, this is side right, and this is side left. Okay, there's one more areas, I didn't mark out, but it would be top right and top left over here. Okay, top right, top left. I just wanted to have these words here, so that's why I didn't draw them in, right? But it's the same kind of area up top on both sides. Okay. Another important thing, kind of the last thing we'll talk about today, is how we label our offense, okay, and the formation we're in. So when a coach is calling out their formations and teaching their formations, they're going to give them numbers, all right? Every formation consists of 3 numbers, okay? The first number means how many guys are behind the goal. The second number means how many guys are across the middle, right? And the third number is going to be how many guys are up top. So if you were looking at this photo right here, you'd see we have 1 behind, we have 3 across the middle, and 2 up top. So that would be a 1, 3, 2. Okay, so we count from behind to up top. We count from X to top center. So it's 1 behind, 3 across, 2 up top is a 1, 3, 2. Okay, very easy. If there's 2 guys behind, 2 guys in the middle, and 2 guys up top, it would be a 2, 2, 2. Okay, another formation is 1 guy behind, 1 guy on the wing, 2 on the crease, 1 on the wing. So that's 4 across in the middle, and 1 up top is a 1, 4, 1. Okay, and now the important thing is when you talk about formations, they'll always be add up to the number 6, right? Because you have 6 offensive players. So as long as we're not off sides and we have 6 guys on offense, right? Our formations will be an add up to 6. So 1 plus 3 plus 2, 2 plus 2 plus 2, 1 plus 4 plus 1, right? Any shape that your coach could call out, your formation that he calls out, right? If he says, get in a 1, 3, 2, now you know, right? We have 1 guy behind, 3 across, 2 up top, okay? And that is the end of our Lacrosse 101 session. Okay, stay tuned. We'll keep coming at you guys with some more information, some more learning, some more instruction as we keep going. But hope you guys took a lot away from that and got some valuable information. See ya.